Hello and welcome. Today we have a couple of stories, including one about an entitled husband who refuses tried to keep his child from seeking medical care. Relax and enjoy. Will I be the idiot if I canceled my vacation ticket because my family wants me to share a room with my nieces? I, F23, have been planning a family vacation with my older brother, M30, and his wife, my two nieces, F4 and F2, and my parents. Everyone is paying for their own tickets. The vacation is booked for February. We hadn't discussed room arrangements before, but I knew the room we'd be staying in would have 3 bedrooms. So we discussed room arrangements yesterday, and my brother and parents just kind of assumed that I wouldn't mind sharing a room with my nieces, whilst my brother and his wife and my parents get their own rooms. I said I didn't want to share a room with them and said that they should be sleeping in my brother's and son-in-law's room since they're their parents. My parents called me dramatic and said that it was not a big deal, and said that my nieces won't give me any trouble. I told them I don't care. They said I'm being a bad aunt and told me to grow up. I told them if I don't get my own room I'll cancel my ticket, which would result in everyone else having to pay more or find someone else to go in my place because we got a group discount with the resort. My brother said I'm a whiny idiot and accused me of being a narcissist. The top replies. Not the idiot. Your nieces are 4 and 2. They should sleep in the room with their parents because of their age. If they were teens, I can understand giving them their own room. I think your brother and son-in-law just want a free babysitter. I hate when people with kids want to go on vacation, bring their kids, and dump them on someone else. This is your vacation and you don't have kids. Second reply. If it's not a big deal to your parents, then they can share their room with their granddaughters. Repaying your own way and should have complete control over your own room on vacation. No one wants to pay for a vacation where they end up being the free babysitter the whole time. Don't be surprised if they tell you, okay, just to keep you from canceling, and then blindside you once you're on vacation. Not the idiot. Third reply. Not the idiot. I dealt with this too many times myself. Paid my fair share and got a couch or an air mattress because so-and-so was older, married, injured, whatever, and needed a bed. Then when I was married and with small kids got the same treatment. 10 years of sharing the cost of the annual family ski trip and never sleeping in a bed. I'm telling you. Mark your boundaries now, original poster. And in future planning trips, make sure people know they are paying per bedroom, not per person. You on your own may pay a little more, but at least you get privacy. Your nieces can sleep on air mattresses in their parents' room. Second story. Am I the idiot for refusing to move my husband's service dog out of the house because my niece is uncomfortable? My husband is disabled. Won't expand on that for privacy. We got him a service dog 4 months ago to help him daily. My brother and his family lost their home and asked to move in with us for a few weeks till they find another place to stay. Thing is, my niece, 14, started complaining about the service dog making her uncomfortable. It's strange, no allergies, no nothing, but she's just uncomfortable. She told my brother and he asked if I could move the dog. I said not. This dog is literally as helpful as a human being when it comes to people with disabilities, and he's incredibly smart, and more importantly, he minds his own business and never bothers my niece, but she's just uncomfortable with him for some reason. My brother and his wife started begging, saying it was temporary, but I refused. They said that my husband doesn't really need the dog much as of now since he's home most of the time, yet I still refused. They tried talking to my husband directly, but I shut that down immediately. My brother's wife started an argument with me right after my brother went to work, and she started yelling about how I value a dog over my niece and her comfort. I said it wasn't just the dog, but it was my husband who needs him. My brother came home and we kept arguing. He said that I was being unsupportive and cruel to my niece who's already been through enough. My husband got involved and asked me to take him to his father's house with the dog, but I said no, not after what his dad said to him and that he and the dog are staying. My brother and his wife are in the guest's room sulking hard while my niece is ignoring me. Meanwhile, my husband is sitting in the kitchen now trying to convince me to let him go stay with his dad to keep the peace with my brother. This man, My husband is like this all the time. Always willing to do what others want just to keep the peace. You can literally cuss him out and he'll apologize to you like it was his fault. He thinks he owes people for accepting him as a disabled man, which is sad. And it's true, he's home most of the time, but he still needs his service dog throughout the day. Am I the idiot for refusing to move the dog temporarily? My niece is upset with me. The top replies. Not the idiot. You're a good partner, and don't let your husband go stay with his father. Tell your brother and son-in-law that if their family is uncomfortable with the dog, a medicinal necessity for your disabled husband, they should find other living accommodations. Beggars can't be choosers. Original poster replies. The reason I refused to let my husband go stay with his dad is because of what he said to him the last he was there. He basically called him useless and a failure. Also told him he was good for nothing because he couldn't get Mr. pregnant, but that's an infertility issue we've been dealing with for years. It's too late now to have kids, me 34, him 37, but we still do not appreciate these types of comments. From his dad of all people. It's sad. Third reply. Not the idiot. For your husband, it is a need. For your niece, it is a want. Need triumphs over want. Your brother and his family are being ungrateful for your allowing them to live there while they find other accommodations. Perhaps they should now try harder so as to get out and make their daughter less uncomfortable. Especially with a vague statement like, I'm uncomfortable. If there's an actual issue, that may be one thing. But something that just seems to boil down to, I don't like the dog, doesn't get consideration. Third story. Will I be the idiot for saying that the way my fiancé wants to split the down payment is unfair? My fiancé and I have been looking to buy our first house. We recently had an offer accepted on a house. She was given $25,000 from a parent to go towards the down payment. The remaining down payment amount is $20,000. I, perhaps unfairly, assumed that we would put down the $25,000 and then both put $10,000 from our own savings. She wants to split the $45,000, so she puts $22,500 from her dad's gift, and nothing from her personal savings, and I put $22,500, which is almost 100% of my savings. I can see both sides but can't help but feel it's unfair to put me in that position. So will I be the idiot for asking to put the $25,000 down and split the remaining $20,000 in half? The top replies. You want to own 50% of the house, but expect your fiancé to contribute $35,000 and you only $10,000. I honestly can't completely follow the logic of how that is fair in your eyes. What are your plans for the future? Children? Finances? You are the idiot. Second reply. Except the fiancé is not contributing $35,000. The fiancé's parents are currently contributing $25,000 and she wants original poster to contribute $22,500 of his money, while she herself actually contributes exactly zero and in fact pockets $2,500 because she doesn't want to use the entirety of her parents' gift. Original poster is not the idiot. The parents are giving the couple a gift specifically intended to help them start their married life with less debt. If their daughter contributes nothing to the down payment and in fact retains some of their gifts while basically bankrupting original poster, then she is not using the gift as intended twice over. Third reply. You need to have a serious talk about how you're going to handle money as a couple. Are you going to combine finances, or keep your finances separate? What happens when one of you gets a better job than the other? What happens if/when you have kids, and one of you stays home to look after them or takes a job with less responsibility so they can be more available for the children? My very strong preference is to combine finances, in which case arguing about whose money it is irrelevant. It's your money as a couple. But you need to have this conversation, and it's a much bigger issue than the down payment question. Update. I want to add some clarity on my point of view. It is not that I don't want to pay my $22,500 share, it's just a bit suffocating when it is 95% of my savings. Perhaps agreeing on a payment plan between us could be an option. The gift, indeed, was given to her, but was vocalized as, "I want to help you two start in life/get on the property ladder." I guess I unfairly took that to mean it was, to some extent, a gift to help us both. Update 2. It seems a lot of people seem to think I am talking about the entire payments. I am not. We would pay the monthly mortgage 50 to 50. So out of $450,000 total, we are talking about $45,000 down payment. And of that, a difference of $10,000 versus $22,500. Update 3. Answering some common questions. Yes. Date set for wedding next summer. 10% possible as first-time buyer's loan. We earn very similarly and split 50 to 50. No debts for either of us right now. Perhaps lack of clarity is true regarding gift. But I was given the impression it was more for us to buy first home than a cash gift to her. When I asked her dad for blessing to propose, he mentioned in that conversation wanting to help us out move forward in starting our lives like this. Fourth story. Am I the idiot for opening my husband's safe with a crowbar to get money for an emergency? I, female, 31 am, a stay-at-home mom with 2 kids. My husband dedicates most of his salary towards the kids and household, but has a safe that he puts money in on a monthly basis. I didn't make a fuss over it because he said that it saved money for an emergency. I asked for the password countless of times, but he refused to give it to me and said that in case of an emergency, all I needed to do was inform him. He went on a 2-day business trip. Our son got sick and I had to take him to the hospital. The problem is, he needed medication, but I didn't have any money except what was in the safe. I called my husband, but he didn't respond. I texted him explaining the situation, but he refused to cut his trip short and come home. I asked how I was supposed to get money for medication. He suggested I either await for him till he get home or, B, borrow money from the neighbors. I just had it. I hung up and went to the garage to grab a crowbar, then took it to the safe and opened it. I took the money I needed, which was about $60, and went to the pharmacy store to get the medication. My husband came home a bit earlier, and when he saw what I'd done to the safe, he flipped out and started freaking out at me. I said I had no choice and all his suggestions were unreasonable and illogical for me to even consider. He yelled, saying I breached his trust and his boundaries and should have never touched the safe, much less use the crowbar on it. We had a big argument and he kept saying that I had no respect for him, his income and instructions. Then he completely refused to speak to me and is threatening to move the safe since he no longer trusts me around it. Was I in the wrong for the steps I took? Should I have tried another alternative? I didn't have any credit cards because he's the one that normally has them since they're in his name. I don't have a bank account to be able to own a credit card. First reply. This is financial abuse and it's absolutely insane. Go to the neighbors and borrow money? Seriously? If my neighbor came to me and asked to borrow money because her husband left on a 2-day business trip and left her with no money, I'd call Adult Protective Services. I'd ask if she needed help getting to a women's shelter with her kids. It's 2022. Never mind the fact that as the working parent, he should have set up an account for you, the caregiver, with a few $100s for care expenses at all times, but like $60 for an extremely sick child? We live in an age of instant transfers and there's a huge big box of money in the home and he says, borrow it from the neighbors. Not the idiot times infinity. You and your children are victims of abuse. You need to get out, my dear. Edit to add a link to the domestic violence hotline. Second reply. If only it were so easy. That's why people financially abuse spouses, so that they can't leave. Original poster couldn't even get her hands on $60 for kids' medicine without taking drastic measures. How is she supposed to just leave the house? I would assume she's socially isolated, especially since she didn't have friends/family she could call for help either, and she might even be in a rural area, without access to services like a women's shelter. Edited to add. I'm not saying she shouldn't start planning and squirreling away what she can, but just saying, run for the hills, isn't exactly helpful in these scenarios. She should absolutely start hiding away money whenever she can, and make copies of all important documents as well. Frankly, her best bet would have been to clear out that safe entirely and run with it. But she definitely needs to start making a plan to become independent of her husband because he is controlling and that is dangerous. Third reply. Not the idiot. You're 100% dependent on him financially. It seems like he's hiding money from you just to have his own separate finances, while you're left without your own money. He shouldn't be putting money away like this, and you shouldn't be asking for his permission to use it, especially to take care of the kids. This is why you need to have your own money before becoming a housewife/som. So your spouse can't financially control you. The safe should be accessible by both of you. You both are equals in the marriage. It's bad that he's more concerned about the safe, rather than the well-being of his son.